Life will never look the same after this. A powerful English moral story. What if everything you thought you knew about happiness was wrong? What if the secret to a truly fulfilled life wasn't found in success or possessions, but in the people you love and the moments you cherish? Stay with me, because this powerful story will change the way you see life forever. Imagine a small, quiet town nestled between the mountains. The kind of place where everyone knows each other's name, and life moves at a slow, steady pace. It was a peaceful existence, yet for one man, it felt as though something was missing. His name was Adam. Adam had lived in this town his whole life. He was familiar with every street, every house, and every face. Yet, for years, he walked through life with a sense of emptiness inside him. He couldn't explain it, but something deep within him told him he was meant for more. One evening, as the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the town, Adam walked to the local park to clear his mind. He had just come from work, his thoughts weighed down by the endless cycle of routines. He sat on a bench, gazing at the horizon, when an elderly man, whom he had seen many times before but never spoken to, sat next to him. The man was well into his 80s, his hair white as snow, and his face lined with the wisdom of a life fully lived. Yet, there was something about him that made Adam feel like he was in the presence of someone who had seen and understood the world in a way few could. The old man smiled gently at Adam, his eyes twinkling with a knowing look. "You seem troubled, young man," the elderly man said, his voice soft but filled with an undeniable warmth. Adam looked over at him, surprised that this stranger had noticed his inner turmoil. He hadn't said a word, yet the old man seemed to see right through him. "I just feel lost," Adam replied, his voice tinged with frustration. "I've been going through the motions of life, doing what I'm supposed to do, but it doesn't feel right. It's like I'm missing something. Something important." The elderly man nodded thoughtfully, as though he had heard this story many times before. He gazed at the horizon for a moment, his eyes reflecting the colors of the setting sun. Then, without turning to Adam, he spoke again. "You know, I once felt exactly the same way. For years, I thought that I was living, but I wasn't truly alive. I was just existing. It wasn't until I faced a great loss that I realized what I had been missing all along." Adam raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" he asked. The old man's gaze grew distant, as though he was remembering something from long ago. "When I was your age, I was much like you. I worked tirelessly, day in and day out, convinced that success and stability were all that mattered. I had a family, a good job, a house, and everything that society tells you should want. But something was always off. I didn't understand why I felt unfulfilled, even though I had everything I thought I needed." He paused, taking a deep breath. "Then, one day, my world was turned upside down. My wife, the love of my life, fell ill. It was sudden, and despite all our efforts, she passed away. I was devastated. But through that loss, I came to understand something far more important than anything I had ever known." Adam listened intently, the weight of the old man's words starting to settle in. "The loss of my wife showed me that life isn't about what you have, it's about who you have. It's about the connections you make, the love you give, and the time you spend with the people who matter. I had spent so many years chasing after things, money, status, security, that I never took the time to truly live, to truly love. I thought those things would fill the emptiness inside me, but they never did." The old man turned to face Adam, his eyes filled with a wisdom that seemed to transcend time itself. "You see, Adam," he said, "the most valuable things in life cannot be bought. They cannot be measured or quantified. The moments that truly matter are often the ones we take for granted, the quiet moments spent with family, the laughter shared with friends, the love exchanged with a partner. These are the things that give life meaning." Adam felt a shift inside him, as though the weight he had been carrying for so long was beginning to lift. He had always believed that success was the answer, that if he could just achieve more, he would find happiness. But now, listening to this man's story, he began to see things differently. The old man smiled again, sensing the change in Adam's demeanor. "I know this might be hard to understand," he said, "but I promise you, life will never look the same after this realization. Once you begin to value the people and the moments that truly matter, everything else will fall into place. The emptiness you feel, it will be replaced with a sense of peace, a sense of purpose." Adam sat in silence, reflecting on the words he had just heard. For the first time in a long time, he felt a sense of clarity. He realized that all the things he had been chasing, money, success, recognition, were fleeting. But the love he gave and received, the moments he shared with the people he cared about, that was what truly mattered. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the old man stood up, ready to leave. Before he walked away, he turned to Adam one last time. "Remember this, young man, life isn't about what you achieve, but about who you become along the way. Be kind, be present, and never take a single moment for granted. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that the moments you shared with others were the true measure of your life." And with that, the old man walked off into the distance, leaving Adam on that bench with a heart full of new understanding. From that day forward, Adam's life began to change. He started focusing on the things that mattered most: his relationships, his health, and his happiness. He realized that life was too short to waste on things that didn't truly bring him joy. And while the road ahead wasn't always easy, he knew he was on the right path now. Sometimes, it takes a wake-up call, a powerful lesson, or a deep personal loss to make us realize that life will never look the same again. But once we do, we're able to see the world through a clearer lens, a lens that values love, connection, and the simple beauty of life itself. If there's one thing you should take away from this story, it's this: life is precious. Don't wait for a wake-up call to remind you. Start living with purpose, start cherishing the people around you, and start making every moment count. Because, in the end, that's all that truly matters.